sévèrement battus.
Twibuke genocide yakorewe abatutsi, twibuke duharanira kwigira. Twibuke genocide yakorewe abatutsi, twibuke duharanira kwigira.
Abantu natakaje mu ntambara sinabona uko mbavuga ni benshi, bageze mu bantu 26 bo muri famiye yanjye. Ahangaha no mu kiliziya ndi hari mama, hari na barumuna banjye babiri na musaza wanjye umwe. Noneho rero hari Intarama naho hari bakuru banjye babiri na mama wacu. Ubwo ndavuga mu muryango wanjye, simvuga umuryango wo kwa data n'umwana wanjye n'umwana mbere nyina wabo. N'abantu bagera kuri 7. Hano hari 4, hari Intarama hariyo 3, abandi bari mu rufunzo, ntago bari no ku misozi, ntago sinanababonye.
Imyaka ibaye myinshi twibuka genocide yakorewe abatutsi, imyaka izaba ibihumbi tuzirikana y'amaraso yamenetse.
Umunsi wa mbere nishe abantu 14, umunsi wa kabiri nica 3, umunsi wa gatatu ni 10. Umunsi wa kane ni uriya mudamu wacitse akaboko, nari nasize namwishe. Ninjye wamutemye kari akaboko mutemana hano, nasize yapfuye. Abo twari turi kumwe bica umwana we. Aho ngaho haguye abantu benshi cyane, ariko ngiye nasize nishe mu.
Twibuke genocide yakorewe abatutsi, twibuke duharanira kwigira. Twibuke genocide yakorewe abatutsi, twibuke duharanira kwigira.
Cyahise bimvamo mera nk'igisimba. Ubwo rero abo bantu nishe harimo abo nturanye nabo, twari duturanye, nta n'ikintu twapfaga na gito. Kubera leta mbi rero narabishe.
I think Manuel, to become a killer and get involved in the genocide, it is a result of a long process. The media played, I will say, a great role, but it's not a great, a worse role in that, disseminating all these kind of stereotypes and hatred and divisions and discriminations.
Sometimes a neighbor killed his neighbor because he was asked to kill. The government is supporting him. He cannot be taken to justice. It is okay to kill. And he was not killing a human being. He was killing a Tutsi. Tutsi was considered as a domestic animal, like a sheep or goat.
I think we have to look at this genocide even from the historical background, not just to be limited to what happened in 1994. We should go back and look from very far.
kera iwacu i Rwanda, kera iwacu i Rwanda, u Rwanda rwa gihanga, u Rwanda rw'abanyarwanda.
The population of Rwanda before colonization, all layer of people were here, Tutsi, Hutu, and the Twa. But that was not considered as ethnic groups.
Twarasangiranaga, twarakundanaga.
Some Hutu were exercising agriculture activities, Tutsi were running after the cattle, and the Twa were hunting and harvesting some wild crops and doing pottery.
Whoa.
Were united, they had all of them, they have to respect the king, and the king was not either Tutsi, Hutu, or Twa, he was the king of everybody. And there is no specific region where Hutu were living, or Twa was living, or Tutsi were living. They're living together.
Twarataramanaga, kera iwacu i Rwanda.
Les Rwandais, ils entretenaient des relations entre toutes la classe. Donc, à part qu'il y avait cette différence quant à l'économie, à leur économie, il n'y avait pas d'autres différences notables à signaler.
It was very difficult to distinguish a Tutsi to Hutu because that was like a social class based on the economy. Someone who had more than 10 cows, historically said, was called a Tutsi. Less than that was called a Hutu. Who had done nothing was considered as a Twa.
Maze umwanzi araza, ateranya akanyarwanda.
Les colonisateurs, quand ils sont arrivés, ils ont collaboré directement avec l'ethnie qui avait le pouvoir en main. De là, ils ont voulu continuer dans le sens qu'ils ont rencontré au Rwanda jusqu'à, je crois, après la Première Guerre mondiale, où les Allemands ont été chassés. Après est venu les Belges.
To tell Hutu, those Belgians, you know you are the majority. Those are the minority. They are your masters. You became slave. So let us emancipate you to reverse the situation.
Et ils ont réussi à faire ça. Ça marchait. Ça créait bien sûr des ressentiments dans la population. Parce que la colonisation, c'était quoi? C'était basé sur le principe de diviser pour régner. Régner pour quoi faire? Pour exploiter. Ça marchait. Ça marchait tel que c'était pensé et mis dans les actes.
They used even the tools. Someone who had a long nose was said a Tutsi, and another one who was strong, short, called Hutu. Those who were living in the forest doing pottery and so what were considered as a Twa. So they wrote that innovation, that creation of days in an idea. And after that, they were creating that the conflict is slowly and indoctrination, showing them those Hutu and Tutsi are different people. While they speak the same language, they eat same food, they live together, they have same religion. So biologically, you cannot show the difference between Hutu and Tutsi.
En fait, ces stéréotypes ont été développés d'abord par les colonisateurs et puis par aussi les membres des églises, surtout l'église catholique, qui étaient ici et qui avaient un pouvoir. Et comme les chefs de l'église catholique, justement, partaient de ces stéréotypes-là en essayant de diviser la population,
il y avait une revue qui a été fondée par l'Église catholique, la revue Kinyamateka.
Si on regarde au niveau de Kinyamateka, qui est le premier d'ailleurs journal public qui a été lu par beaucoup plus de la population, et Kinyamateka qui a pris naissance en 1933, qui reste d'ailleurs une publication de l'Église catholique. C'est un journal qui a été utilisé par spécialement le pouvoir en place à cette époque-là.
D'abord, dans les articles qu'ils publiaient dans Kinyamateka, ils avaient un terme qu'ils utilisaient, qu'on appelle le petit peuple ou le bas peuple, Rwanda Nyamwishi. Et là, ils voulaient là insinuer les Hutus. Et quand ils disaient les féodaux, ils expliquaient comme si c'était des gens qui ne sont pas des véritables Rwandais, qui sont venus, qui ont fait la conquête du pays et qui sont emparés du pouvoir. Ils disaient que la dynastie venait de faire 400 ans.
They said, Tutsi, normally you have different origins. But those people normally not origin of Africa. They're Arabs. Some they say maybe they came from Syria. Others say from Israel. So that to create in people's mind that these people are foreigners.
At the time of the 1959 revolution, or as some people would just call it, the social change, the Kinyamateka newspaper, which was founded by the Catholic Church, sided with those who would like that kind of social change, removing the monarchy and removing the Tutsi as the ruling class. So the newspaper at the time was used as a political instrument to change mentality and to drive an agenda.
In 1959, they burned their houses, they killed their animals. So people, they were chased away. They went to neighboring country, Uganda, Burundi, Tanzania, Congo, and so on. That's what they call it, Hutu revolution. They said, we want independence, but it should be also elections. That election, to me, that means nothing because you cannot prepare an election where a part of the population is outside. So it was one-sided election.
Après les élections, c'était Kambanda le premier, plutôt Kayibanda le premier président. Kayibanda était journaliste dans le Kinyamateka.
Gregory Kayibanda, grown up under control of priests in the Catholic Church, is a product of the division. Kayibanda ruled this country from the 1st July 1962, when Rwanda got independence.
Il appelait aux Hutus de chasser ou de combattre forcément et avec ferveur les Tutsis. Parce qu'il les comparait comme des serpents, vous imaginez. Et puis, avec le Kinyamateka, bien sûr, il n'était plus écrivain, mais le Kinyamateka aussi continuait en quelque sorte d'appuyer le pouvoir.
Radio Rwanda started in 1964. Basically, Radio Rwanda was a government media institution that was in charge of educating, informing, and entertaining the public.
Most of Rwanda were illiterate. They could not even read the journal, but to listen, it is very easy. Even without having a power electricity in your village, you can use this dry battery. Someone who had no radio, his neighbor had. So they can go to his neighbor to listen to the radio, and all Rwanda, they speak one language. So there's no translation. What they hear is the same message. It is not complicated to transmit the message. That's why it was very, very easy that message to be spread.
You'd find that the ordinary people in the villages, in the rural communities, whatever radio says, they think it's the truth. If a government official goes on radio and says, we plan to do this and this and this and this, the ordinary people would take it as almost an instruction which they must abide by. That's why people would say, I have heard this on radio. So if whatever was heard on radio would be very true.
Et puis, il y a aussi, non seulement ces messages de parti, il y a la musique. Les chansons du parti, c'était des chansons qui incitent, qui manipulent les têtes de la population ignorante, la population qui n'est pas très instruite. À l'époque, quand j'étais encore petit, j'entendais ces chansons. Waparime Hutu tubavuga ibigwi, inyota n'izuba ryo ku karubanda, abo bose ntibari bahari. C'est-à-dire, tu chantes pour la joie d'être Hutu. Et là, ça complexe les autres.
Pendant ce temps-là, il y avait comme une sorte de coopération entre l'Église catholique et le gouvernement. Et ces deux institutions, en fait, ont utilisé essentiellement la radio Rwanda et la revue Kinyamateka pour, entre guillemets, éduquer la population. Et les médias ont eu ce rôle. Et alors, comme le gouvernement, la Première République et la Deuxième République, par exemple, voulaient développer une idéologie ségrégationniste, une idéologie de division, eh bien, ils ont utilisé la radio Rwanda et le journal Kinyamateka, justement, pour promouvoir cette idéologie.
Itangazamakuru rifite uruhare mu kubaka, koreshejwe neza rifite uruhare mu iterambere, bitaba ibyo gusenya rikaba irya mbere. Hari igihe ryakoreshejwe nabi, aho kubaka rirema amacakubiri, aho kunga abanyarwanda ribacamo ibice.
On 5th of July in 1973 came a former chief of staff in Rwanda Army, Major General Habyarimana, took power from that man who was the president. He was a civilian, Gregory Kayibanda. He took power, said that, okay, now we're going to establish a peace. People said maybe now we're going to be in peace for long. But that was false because the ideology continued to be there and the discrimination. He formed one party called the MRND. MRND, in his manifesto, they said that Rwanda population is composed by three ethnic groups. Hutu, who are majority, representing about 85%, Tutsi, representing 9%, and the Twa, representing 1%. So, in work, in schools, even recruitment, Tutsi should not exceed 5% in everything.
Le Tutsi était toujours indésirable dans l'administration, dans la fonction publique. Alors, la Deuxième République non plus n'a pas abandonné cette politique.
The ideology continued up to in 1980. In Uganda, President of Uganda, Milton Obote, chased refugees, Tutsi refugees, saying that they are supporting Idi Amin Dada, the former president of Uganda. Those people, they were driven from Uganda to Rwanda. They were stopped in the national park. And they said, okay, the distribution will be here. You are not allowed to enter in Rwanda. So only way was to come by force. In 1990, the 1st October, the RPF, Rwanda Patriotic Front, invaded Rwanda from the border of Uganda.
The Rwanda Patriotic Front, which was led by now President Paul Kagame.
When RPF invaded the country in 1990, it's now the time Radio Rwanda was more active to show that the enemies of the country, the Tutsis from different countries, especially Uganda, have now invaded the country. They do not want any good thing about the Rwandan population.
The old journals or journalists, to me, were not professionals. Anyone could write whatever he wants. The most important is to write something based on hatred, to create a conflict, humanizing Tutsi, and you get anyone to buy it. It continued up to the level like Hassan Ngeze in his journal Kangura. He wrote 10 Commandments of Hutu. Rules all Hutu should follow. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. Who is a Hutu? How he should think, where he should be. So he determined what, step by step.
As you know, a lot of people were Catholics, and they knew there was a huge understanding of the 10 Commandments of God. So what these gentlemen did was make a Hutu 10 Commandments. And these were the rules that so-called good Hutus were supposed to follow. Some of them were, you shall not marry or have a concubine who's a Tutsi. You shall not go into business with a Tutsi.
A Hutu should not trust Tutsi. These are things that were aired by the radio stations, But a professional journalist would not do that, because a professional journalist would question the essence of this. How is this? You know, a journalist is supposed to be responsible. And I'm sure we'll talk about responsibility here. The journalist is supposed to be responsible. You're supposed to weigh things, and you see the impact of what you're saying to your community.
You have to understand that his was a very extremely popular newspaper. It did not only have genocide and thoughts of killing, but it had a lot of sports, a lot of culture, so it was an extremely well-read newspaper. So when he was able to put his views across to the larger community, one, read the newspaper, two, assumed, because they had heard similar things from the government, they assumed that what he's saying is correct, and because he had a flair for writing.
Hassan Ngeze telling people that the Tutsis are the rich people in the country. For the Hutus to benefit of the economy, of all this, is first of all knowing that the Tutsi is an enemy and exterminating these Tutsis.
Il aimait mettre les images de serpents. Une personne qui a la tête d'un serpent. Et le serpent, ça signifiait le Tutsi. Alors, tuer un serpent, c'est pas un crime.
À partir de 1990, il y avait une pression interne et une pression externe pour la démocratisation du pays. Le président Habyarimana, lui, il est allé jusqu'au sommet franco-africain de la Baule, déclarer que non, que chez lui, il avait un parti unique, mais qu'il fonctionnait démocratiquement. Pendant que le président français Mitterrand disait que, en tout cas, il faut du pluralisme en Afrique. il faut cesser le régime de parti unique.
En ce moment, dans les années 91, 12, 13, il y a eu une floraison, une florescence des médias privés. On en a connu une trentaine ou une cinquantaine, mais lesquels ont vu le jour dans ce qu'on peut appeler, disons, le libertinage.
Tous ces articles, c'était des propagandes. Et puis, son journal n'était pas vendu. Il donnait ça gratuitement dans la population. Il distribuait gratuitement à la population qui ne peut pas avoir l'argent pour l'acheter. Il y avait des groupes de miliciens, des villages, à qui on donnait ces journaux et ils distribuaient dans la population. Ils n'achetaient pas.
Si on dit au pluralisme des médias au Rwanda, on doit se référer aussi en 1993. C'est là où on a eu la deuxième radio nommée qui est appelée le RTLM, la télévision de Colonial.
Il est 16h22 à Kigali, dans le blindé de la SNM.
RTM was financed by a group of politicians that were attached to the president of them. If you do research on the history of Rwanda, you'll find what they called Akazu. The Akazu people were a group of very senior prominent politicians that were linked to the president. They were the inner circle of the president, of the former president, President Habyarimana.
Ferdinand Nahimana était directeur d'abord de la radio nationale. Il a été directeur de ce qu'on appelait à cette époque au renfort, c'était l'organe de presse de l'État. Dans les années 90, c'était au fait le garant du discours officiel de cette époque. C'est comme ça que Nahimana a été viré, si vous voulez, de la radio nationale parce que le discours radical ne pouvait pas se tenir à cette radio pour aller dans un organe, cette fois-ci privé, là où tout était permis.
You have to remember that there was not a lot of money in circulation. There's not a lot of money in the population. So those who were able to fund a media house had to be rich. Those at the time who were rich were the politicians and business owners who were also very close to the politicians, because very often politics and business are entwined. So when the politicians decided that there's going to be a certain course that they choose, the media that they own, what to print, what to say, what to write. Because they say, if you pay the piper, you pick the tune.
Donc, ils ont mis de l'argent là-dedans, ils ont donné de l'argent, ils ont corrompu même les bons journalistes. Je peux te donner un exemple d'un qui s'appelait Cantano. Cantano, c'était le meilleur journaliste de la presse écrite. Il avait étudié à l'université de Yaoundé. Il était parmi les journalistes qui avaient des maîtrises en journalisme.
What the first thing that RTLM did was to have interesting content. So they had the best and newest music. They had they had good programs that made people laugh. They had a lot of humor. The news was good. And stylistically, it was very modern in how they used media, as compared to, say, the older and public Radio Rwanda, which very few people listen to other than for the news.
Attracted audience mainly because of the extreme editorial line that it undertook. The extreme editorial line of saying, for us, we're here to protect the interest of the majority against an invasion from people. And that's why people managed to listen to it.
Il y avait la synergie entre ces articles d'Ongezé et les messages qui passaient à la radio. Et puis, il y a aussi l'appui des instances de base.
au Rwanda, la situation était très tendue. Il y avait eu la signature des accords de paix d'Arusha en 1993, lesquels accords avaient été rejetés par la majorité présidentielle, sous prétexte que ces accords donnaient une part du lion au FPR, alors que le FPR était minoritaire. Donc, il y avait un climat politico-militaro-social très tendu.
Et là, Ngeze, lui aussi, disait, bon, si le président de la République accepte ces accords, vaut mieux qu'il quitte. Il a écrit ça, il a dit, bon, si le président accepte les accords d'Arusha, vaut mieux qu'il quitte, c'est-à-dire qu'il n'est plus notre président. Il n'est pas le président de la majorité populaire. Le président Hutu, il n'est plus Hutu.
muri Kigali y'umujyi kuva uyu munsi kuri Pasika ejo n'ejo bundi akantu kateganyijwe muri uyu mujyi wa Kigali ese nuko itariki ya karindwi ya
Le 6 avril, lorsque l'avion présidentiel rentrait sur Kigali, c'était aux environs de 20 heures, l'avion a été abattu. Il semble que c'est la RTLM, la première, qui a diffusé cette information.
Indege ya Habyarimana imajije kugwa, radiyo y'i Rwanda yahise ibivuga cyane bavuga ko umututsi ari mubi. Bavuga ko abantu bafata imihoro amacumu bajye kwica abantu. Ubwo rero nibwo nanjye nafashe umuhoro, ari abasirikare badukuye mu rugo turagenda twica abantu.
Umunsi nk'uyu bubububu igitondo nk'iki amarira atangira gutemba amaraso atangira kumenwa ikiremwa muntu kiricwa.
Le génocide a commencé au mois d'avril, le 7, et au Rwanda, c'est la saison pluvieuse. Donc, comme le malheur ne vient pas seul, il y a la pluie, c'est la période de la grande pluie, et c'est là où les gens devraient aller se réfugier dans les brousses, dans les marais, alors que c'est pendant les pluies. C'est pourquoi ils ont rencontré beaucoup de problèmes de se cacher dans les buissons.
Igihe nari mfite imyaka 34 ni ukuvuga ngo ubwo nari ntuye hano muri centre ya Nyamata, ari we murenge wa Nyamata. Uyu nawe yari atuye hariya i Kayumba hafi hano muri Nyamata. Ni ukuvuga ngo ubwo twahise tugaba igitero, abatutsi bari hano muri Nyamata bamwe bahungiye hariya ruguru ku musozi, ubwo tuza kugabaho igitero.
Ibitero byaraje byica bamwe mu muryango wanjye nk'uko yari abivuze. Hapfuyemo mukuru wanjye na musaza wanjye. Bukeye bwaho twarakomeje turahonga, kuri 11 twari tugeze Ntarama.
Mu kugota bo birukaga mbese basa n'abahunga bagaruka hano muri centre ya Nyamata. Ubwo uko baje kuza biruka, abantu twaratangaga mbese nk'uko umuntu ari gutanga. Nari mfite inkota gutya, none ubwo wa mwana we yaje yiruka nkaho yangezeho mpita mutera ya nkota, ubwo abaguye aho ngaho.
The genocide is a special event, and this is why it is known as a genocide. A genocide, this is a total extermination of a group, regardless of the age, regardless of the professional. In that little girl, Safari was not killing the little girl. Safari was killing the identity of the little girl.
La radio des Mille Collines faisait comme ils animaient la guerre. C'était comme on fait un reportage du match de football, par exemple. Et là, non seulement eux, le courage aux miliciens pour qu'ils soient beaucoup plus habiles, pour qu'ils ne craignent rien. Muze twishime nshuti, dore inyenzi zashize. Muze twishime nshuti.
Imana ntirenganya ko kuvuga hano niturwana tugatsinda inyenzi inkotanyi burundu nazo dutsinda urubanza n'ububaho kuko ruzaba turarwanya kandi batsinda.
They will use the concept cockroaches, and they know what it does mean in the mind of a Munyarwanda. In our culture, we value milk. But if it comes that a cockroach is in the bowl of your milk, you can't drink the milk. So what to do with the cockroach is kill it at first and very fast you can.
This is RTLM, Hutu Power Radio.
icyo gihe nta gahinda nari mfite kubera kuko yagaragazaga ko abatutsi ari abanzi bagomba kwicwa. Yaharabikaga abatutsi ko ari babi bagomba kwicwa. Icyo gihe rero abahutu bayumvaga ko indirimbo ari nziza.
Njyewe Rasheli iyo nazumvaga nkurikije amateka yarangaga u Rwanda numvaga mfite ubwoba.
Rero icyamye ubwanyuma.
What the media and what RTLM did was give the government platform to then tell people to use its reach, its popular reach, to tell people what the lists say. So if they said this person and this person and this person are targets today, they are found in this place, they were getting the lists from the government and then saying the lists on air. A lot of people know about agricultural countries like Rwanda's. The vast majority of our people are farmers, and they know certain tools of farming, machetes, hoes, sticks. So those are very familiar tools that Hassan Genzi now used in his newspaper to make the horrible normal.
It is like sending the message, there is no excuse. You can't say you don't have something to use to kill a snake when in your daily life you use your panga to kill a snake, and a panga can really kill a snake. But they were also knowing that a panga can kill a human being.
About RTLM, it was also using a tactic of telling people that you go to churches. You see, people used to go to churches, Catholic churches, thinking that because these people are religious people, they will be protected, which was wrong.
During genocide, around 10,000 people came here to look for protection, to look for refuge. Unfortunately, they were killed here.
I can assure you that without RTM, I'm sure the scale of the killings that happened in this country would have been small. But because of the mobilization that it did, because of the constant propaganda of hate that it churned out every day, it very much accelerated and very much helped the mobilization of one segment of population to turn against the other. And that's why the killings were so massive that it went up to 1 million innocent people that died here. But LTM was purposely established by these politicians to carry out that mission until the time when it was shot down. And it was shot down by the rebels. They sent a missile and they sent a rocket and it hit it and then they shut down. from then, it never broadcast again. Its founders and its editor-in-chief and managing director were arrested and were in ICTR by the International Tribunal for Rwanda. And they were sentenced to, I think you do some research, must have been sentenced to life imprisonment. That's Hassan Genzi, its editor, Ferdinand Nahimana, I think, one of the founders also. These people were arrested by the UN and were tried by the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda under the famous case called the media case.
Ngeze Hassan, en fait, n'était pas journaliste. Pendant son procès lui-même, il a tenu à dire, insister, dire que moi, je n'étais qu'un garçon de rue, un enfant de la rue, un street boy. Alors, quand on lui a demandé d'où il tirait les articles qu'il diffusait, bon, eh bien, il a dit, bon, voilà, il y avait des politiciens, c'est eux qui écrivaient les articles.
Now, Ngeze and Nahimana, they are facing consequences of what they did, of the hatred media, of the violence, of the genocide which they incite to the public. So to me, it's a big lesson that every journalist must learn.
Itangazamakuru imiyoborere myiza yararihinduye ubu sinka kera intumbero no kubaka igihugu.
Now, we needed to say, accept this shame. But now, look at how do we contribute to build a new Rwanda, a Rwanda that is good for its own people. And I think the most important thing that we accepted is to agree on what is responsibility.
D'ailleurs, si nous regardons au niveau de la loi régissant les médias, et là, et aussi le code d'éthique et de déontologie des médias, il y a cette manière de demander aux journalistes de ne pas s'aimer la division, de ne pas faire exclusion aucune, et de ne pas, du moins, amener la population à s'entretuer, de ne pas amener la population. Donc, autrement, c'est un message, je dirais, de reconstruction.
Ubumwe n'ubwiyunge byatumye twongera kubaka igihugu
majije kuva mu buroko byarangoye cyane no kuva mu rugo, niberaga mu rugo nabona umuntu araje nkihisha, ariko wa mutima wambwiye ngo nijyane ku buyobozi urakomeza urampata gusaba imbabazi abona akoreye icyaha. Ni ukuvuga ngo cyane cyane abantu bacitse ku icumu bo ntago bari banze, nge rero narabiyeretse uwo ngiye gusaba imbabazi nkabona agize ikibazo nanjye mbese kibiga byarankomeranye cyane, sinzi ukuntu nabivuga.
Ngeze iruhande rero nibwo yabashije gupfukama, amaze gupfukama noneho rero mbona acucumutse icyuya cyinshi cyane, murateze amaboko atangira kuvugaguzwa amagambo menshi asa nk'aho aterekeranye. Arangije rero arambwira ngo nimara gusaba imbabazi kuvuga ko ngo ari njye wagutemye. Amaze kubimbwira nta rindi jambo nigeze nkurikizaho, kubera ko dukora ari ku wa mbere, ubwo ibyo byabaye ku wundi wa mbere, hashizemo icyumweru cyose ntari namubabarira. Ariko noneho rero mpagurutswe no kugira ngo njye kumubabarira, numva mbikuye ku mutima, numva bindimo, numva nta n'umuntu nanabimpatsemo.
You are surprised because you are from another culture. Because you say, oh, if I always have problem forgiving someone who's stolen just $1, how comes that someone who lost close relatives, who was wounded, who lost each and everything, can come immediately and say, I forgive you because you're asking for forgiveness?
Mu kuva mu buroko kwa Safari asosiyasiyo y'ubumwe n'ubwiyunge yari yarashinzwe bagashishikariza abantu kwinjira muri asosiyasiyo. Byabaye ngombwa rero ko ninjiramo, ariko Safari we yaragezemo mbere. Yaranzi bihagije, aranyegera nsaba imbabazi, ndamubabarira.
Pour le moment, si on écoute à la radio, on écoute les chansons qui parlent à propos de l'unité et la réconciliation entre les Rwandais. Par exemple, je peux chanter l'une parmi ces chansons qui dit « Tuzarwubaka abana b'Abanyarwanda, turugire nka paradizo, ku isi yose we tuzarwubaka ».
I think the problem is not the radio as an instrument. It is what is sent using the radio. In the past, the radio could tell that you guys, you are enemies because one is a so-called Hutu, another is a so-called Tutsi. But today, the message is this. You guys both, primarily you are Rwandans.
I Rwanda ni heza kwa Kanyarwanda, imisozi myiza, imisozi ibihumbi, ibiyaga byiza, ibiyaga bigari, Abanyarwanda beza.